Hello, my name's Devaraj, and I'm here with a little talk today called Occupy Your Body. And the idea basically is that, like, I've seen all these Occupy movements. I mean, it's a few years ago now, yes. We're now in 2018, I know that, Devaraj. And basically, this Occupy stuff that was going on for a while, I don't know if it's still going on, in some capital cities, New York, in Wall Street, in London, around St. Paul's on the edge of the city of London, and a lot of people protesting, about something by occupying the space and staying there for a period of days or weeks. And I wanted to call this "Occupy Your Body" because what I see, having been a protester myself, I mean, one generation before, back in the 80s and 90s, and also working a lot in the group room with people from protester background, is most people that want to protest a lot are not in their body. They're not occupying their own body. It's really true. When you're in your 20s, when you're in your late teens, even into your 30s, your ego here in your mind is really fucking strong, And when a wound is triggered inside of you by something going on around you, the tendency is to go into a knee-jerk reaction of blaming the outside. Simple as that. You blame the outside. For me, growing up, in my teens and 20s, I really hated authority. I mean, I really fucking hated it. The cops, the state, the government, any form of external control. I really objected to it. Letters from the council telling you got to do this, do that. I fucking hated it, basically. And I was in protesting and squatting and doing all sorts of stuff for, like the best part of a decade before it started to occur to me. In fact, longer than a decade, if I'm honest, thinking back now. Started to occur to me, is it something to do with me? Before that, I'd assumed the problem was on the outside, Society was the problem, the state, the government, people in authority, the bankers were the problem. I just assumed all of that. What I didn't want to look at was my own wound around authority growing up as a kid. That I hadn't had a positive experience of authority. That I'd wanted to be, around authority figures who were loving and giving as well as taking a line, and I didn't experience that. It created a wound inside of me, and so when an authority figure came at me in the outside world, whether it's through a TV screen or someone on the street, a policeman or whatever, then, my reaction was always anger, to push, with my mind to push away, so I didn't have to feel the wound. And when you work with people, or you're around people who are busy with protesting about the state of the outside world, what you will see as a therapist is they're not in their bodies. They're really not. Because they're still doing this 20-year-old ego thing of assuming the problem is just on the outside and then gathering together in a group of like-minded people. Because collectively, we can all reinforce the idea that the problem is on the outside and we don't have to feel what's going on in our heart. We don't have to feel what's going on in our gut. So, it's not, let me, make this clear, that change can't happen in our world. But the reality is that one person who's really centered and occupying their own body, feeling their own body properly, can create far more natural change than a million people taking to the streets and protesting away. It's really true. It's really true. Yes, group protests happen. Sometimes it's about stuff that's really fucking bad that's gone on in a country. I live in a very quiet country, Britain, basically. And, change does happen. Sometimes governments need to be confronted. But change happens far more naturally when you're really inside your body. Because then you're coming from a clear place. You're not coming from the attitude of trying to avoid feeling your own pain unconsciously. So it's important, if you're involved in a lot of protesting, if you really feel like there's some, really bad stuff on the outside that you need to stand up against, also look, could it relate to my childhood? And that action of looking is maturation. It's becoming more mature. Mostly the ego is so strong in the 20s. A lot of people don't even feel or think about it till then. Not everyone. But in the 30s, I was in my late 30s before I started to really introspect on my behavior, particularly where I was really incensed and getting angry. What was actually going on inside of me? In this series, you know, we've done about 35 lessons now on bioenergetics, not really lessons, but different movements, different understanding. You can use all of this to get more in your body. Basic key areas of the body you want to occupy, far more important than occupying Wall Street or the City of London, occupy your belly. Then you have a natural sense of power. You don't need to go to lots of other people and get them all to agree with you and all kind of protest or some kind of group movement. You just speak with natural authority when you occupy your belly. Second place, to occupy your heart, so you can feel what's going on in your life. And, you know, it makes you really human. And third place, to occupy your back, so you can stand up. You don't need to cling on to groups or group behaviors in a bad way. You can stand up and just take a position for yourself. Okay, that's been my little lecture stroke talk. I hope I wasn't too much like an authority figure giving you another lecture and you're sitting there thinking, fucking Devaraj, what a bastard. Even if you are, that's life. I certainly probably would have done when confronted with myself 30, 40 years ago. Anyway, I'll be back doing some other stuff around bioenergetics and some new projects I've got coming up. Thank you for watching, and keep occupying your own body. It's really important.